Very warm welcome that my wife and myself received from the occupants of Melbourne. We do appreciate it very, very, very much. Purim Koton falls on the week of Pasha Kisisa. And apparently, we have a Yom Yom. The Yom Yom that talks about the very last item of the Kelim of the Beis HaMikdash, Chiyah L'Chama, the basin lover, the lover basin, which was made out of copper, which is the last of all the furnishing, of all the utensils. Two of the Tzabbos talk about everything, and one thing was left. And it's in this week's Parsha of Kisisa. And the Yom Yom tells us Nils Klossa Veseipan, Veseipan Vitkilasam. We connect end to the beginning and vice versa. The conclusion of the Mishkan will not come to fruition unless we have the Kiyah V'chana, unless we have the place to prepare. Likewise, the Rebbe tells us that Purim Koton is the very, very last Seif in Rechaim that speaks about all the Rebbe, starting with Rosh Chodesh, Nisan, all the way through Purim, and even in Purim itself, Purim Gadol, as that Rebbe calls it, Purim Gadol is first on the agenda, and then the very last part is Purim Koton, which of course we know the cycle of 19 years, only 7 years are in this Machzor, which today is the Machzor Shlishi, the third cycle of Shalom Beres, of Iber Yom, of Olympia. And subsequently, that's why it only comes every approximately 3 years. That's why it's the very, very end of the halachas. So the Rebbe explains to us that really we connect it to the beginning. We don't just look at the end, which is very, very important, but let's see what the beginning of Shchanach is about. The very end speaks about Purim, Purim Koton in particular, Purim in general, Purim Koton specifically in the very conclusion. But the very beginning of Shchanach, the Mashkabas HaBoiker, and you wake up in the morning, speaks about very, very the outset of the day, which starts with the Rama tells us, as he explains to us the halachas of Mashkabas HaBoiker, of the dealing and willing with our beginning of the day. Shivisi Hashem and Tistamid. We always have to place Hashem before us continuously, on a continual basis. Tamid. It starts with Tamid, the very beginning of Shachanarach, and it concludes with Tamid. And the very last Seif is a machlekes. As we all know, the two Jews meet, there are 3 opinions. And we have got machlekes at the very end of the Rechaim. Should we or should we not celebrate Purim Koton? Is the machlekes. Should we celebrate Purim Koton? Is it something significant? Perhaps it's not. There is the first version. Of course it is. And the second opinion? Not really. There comes a conclusion, the third opinion. Nevertheless, let's increase in the simcha, increase in the food for Purim Koton. In spite of the fact that the halacha is you don't need to, but why not celebrate it? So we get all 3 opinions come around to a conclusion that it would be appropriate to celebrate Purim Koton. And comes to a pasuk from Mishnah. Perek Tezvav, pasuk Tezvav, the Mishnah tells us, we tamid the pasuk v'lev toiv, Mishnah tamid. A good heart is always filled up with the Mishnah. Which is all machlekes, which brings the concept of Abasa. One opinion, which is tamid v'lev rachav, rachmus alev, to be spacious, open-minded. And Rashi brings up, should be always lev sameach, should always be with joy. And the Rabbi explained to us that really the two intertwine. They walk hand in hand. The two of them go together. But the Rabbi explained to us that really, if you look at it, you can see that really there are 2 aspects of serving the Eibishter. 2 ways in which we serve the Eibishter. The beginning of the day speaks about Yiras Hashem, the fear of Hashem. Shavis Hashem and Tamid tells us about how we should be with fear of Hashem. And the conclusion of Shchanarach, or Chaim, comes with Lev Toiv. The Lev Toiv is talking about the Simcha. Should be the Simcha. And the 2 psukim are from Tehillim. Look at Pasuk Beis, as it says in Perek Tezvav, Tezai actually. It says, Shivisa Hashem Tisabit no, I'm sorry. We already spoke about that. It is in Perek Beis, which says, if there's a Shem Bira, the Gula Birada, we have to serve the Eibishter with ira, with fear, and that's before the Eibishter with dread, which is the beginning of Tehillim, which is Ashkamas HaBoiker, early in the morning. And then, of course, the Mizmor HaSodim Perek Kuf, is the Hashem B'Simcha, Bodafar Be'alana. So these are the two ways of serving Hashem. To understand them, perhaps, I'll back off and את חטאי אני מזכיר היום. When I got this schus to be taken to the Rabbi, to have my Chassidische Yom Holados, first time I got this to the Rabbi was under the auspices of Rabbi Gershon Rebbetzin Gesher Chaim. When they took me to the Rabbi, being that they were Mishpacha to the Rabbi, Mishpacha to us, they took care of me and made sure that I'll get to see the Rabbi. So I didn't know any better. When I came to the Rabbi, I was a teenager, just got the Rebbe to Islam. And the Rebbe gave me a big Shalom Aleichem, and I did not even respond. And obviously, I shook the Rebbe's hand. I didn't know any better, because I just said Chatani Maskir Hayim. And to go further, as a teenager, I was learning already Gemara. That's the least you could do when you're a teenager. But yet, the Rabbi didn't ask me one question in Gemara. Not even one simple question. He asked me about Parshas Noach, about who is Noach, and how many children he had, and all the Shakir Torah that Kiddush Bill. At that time, of course it was Lashon Kodesh, because I spoke no other language. I spoke my mother Lashon is Lashon Kodesh, and you can hear it from my accent. In case you don't realize that, I was born in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, and I tell everyone that if you don't realize that why I came to the United States, of course now I'm in Australia, but when I came to the USA, is because the USA is right in the center of Jerusalem. If you don't believe me, I'll spell it for you. Jerusalem. That's where I came from. I came from Jerusalem into the USA, and I spoke on Lashon Kodesh. And when I spoke Lashon Kodesh, that's the language Rabbi spoke with me. Asked me all those questions on Lashon Kodesh. It took me a while to realize what it was all about, because as we got married and as I got older, I've been spending all my life teaching not Gemara, not Mishnah, but little Kinderlach, for the month of May, the people in Wyoming, with lots of stories. As I told the girls today this afternoon, just share with you just one note that for those who heard it, I repeat, my son was with you for the second time, that in the old-fashioned days, there was the triple R method. Education in the secular world was reading, writing, arithmetic. That was the method used in the olden days. But even though reading is with an R, writing is with a W, arithmetic with an A, but that's what they called the method in the box to educate children. I believe in Rashab's point of view. After R comes S. The very next level after R is S. And S starts with stories. As an educator, it's proper to tell stories. And the next part, if once we tell stories, we liven up our students and we bring up to songs. And the conclusion is satisfaction. These nachas that everyone is satisfied and happy. So, on that note, we'll try to connect the Iras Hashem and Avas Hashem with a story that perhaps can bring the message home. And the story is told about two of the colleagues of Alter Rebbe, two of the Chaverim of Alter Rebbe. We're talking about Baruch HaMezruk, the Baal Shem Tov grandson, and the Yitzchak Abeditcher. These two are opposite in their behavior. In their conduct, they send the Eibishter in the opposite direction. One day, the Yitzchak sends a message to a messenger to Rabbi, I'm coming to visit you. I'm coming to spend Shabbos with you in Meditcher. And the messenger was told, go back and tell your Rebbe, tell Levi to stay home. We don't need that excitement. Over here we are satisfied. We are just happy the way it is. We don't need all this turmoil that Levitzchak is all about. So please tell him to stay home. Messenger, of course, comes home and gives a message, and Levitzchak doesn't stay behind, doesn't give up. He says to the messenger, go back, please, and tell him I'll be on my best behavior. Give me a break, give me a chance. I won't disturb the peace. I'll be on the best behavior, let me come. Obviously, the Baruch accepted Levi Yitzchak's coming. And Levi Yitzchak obviously came, and the entire town heard, he's coming for Shabbos. And the whole shul was packed up, because we did not know the behavior of Levi Yitzchak. To such an extent that it fits into the 5 parshas, Trumat Tetzaveh, through Yaakov Kudei. As we know that this is the parsha that speaks about the Avodah of Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen, Baruch Hashem, was not like Levi Yitzchak. Because one time, when someone came to see the Baditcher and saw the excitement of Levi Yitzchak, and he saw the way he davened, started Matoiv in Mizrachman, and finished Balena by the other side of the field, all the way to the end of the shul, he comes into the shul and said, I'm mazel that you're not a Kohen Gadol. If you be a Kohen Gadol, there will be oil all over the place. The Mishkan will be filled up with oil. I'm mazel that you are just like Levi Yitzchak, not a Kohen Gadol, only Yisrael. So this is the way Levi Yitzchak behaved. So being that this was the case, the Baruch didn't want that excitement. And the entire town heard, he's coming to town. Levi Yitzchak is coming to town. And the shul was packed. But the promise was kept. Kabbalah Shabbos, he behaved like a good boy. Did not daven the way he usually davens. He did not even, when it came to Kiddush, did not even make Kiddush. He was Kiddush from Baruch. Because he didn't want to upset the ordeal. In Mezubah was not the same as in Baditcher. In Baditcher, that was his way of life. But in Mezubah was supposed to be in the box. Supposed to be in the order of the Baruch. The very next day, people felt, well, he was probably tired of the trip. Tomorrow we'll see the real Levi. The real Levi Yitzchak will be tomorrow showing us his presence. And the very next day, everybody was once again ready to no avail. Same Levi Yitzchak of last night. No difference. He was the same person, quiet and very courteous. And the davening went on without a sound. And it comes to Kiddush, weiter in the Kiddush. Everything went smooth until the Meltzer, until the waiter came by to serve the food. And when he came by to serve the food to Ludwig, he came with a fish. And the question he asked, which fish do you love? You can really imagine what happened. He threw it up to the sky. I don't love any fish. I only love Hashem. I only love the Eibishter. The only thing I love is the Eibishter. And he went out and he lost his cool. He lost his box. Came out of the box and behaved like Levi behaves. And this is, of course, what the Rebbe tells us. There are 2 ways. First base tells us, Yiras Hashem. This is Yiras Hashem B'Yira. This was the way which the Baruch, that was his way of serving the Eibishter. That was the method he used. But Levi Yitzchak was Yiras Hashem B'Simcha. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have the combination. It means we need both. But the overemphasis of the morning, the beginning of the day, should be with Yira. And then build up to the Simcha. Beginning of Shulchan Aruch starts, first we have to have the fear of the Eibishter before we can have the love of the Eibishter. If you don't understand and appreciate the Eibishter, then, like the story is told about a fellow comes in to a bank with a check, and he takes out his check and signs the front of the check, and he brings it over to the counter. And the person behind the counter said, "Sir, sorry, can't cash your check. you have to sign the back of the check. I'm not a second-class citizen. I'm not signing the back of the check. Everything is in the front. My name is in the front together with everything else. I'm not a second-class. Sir, but these are the rules of the bank. We have to sign the back. Don't tell me that this goes on for 20 minutes, argument back and forth, until finally, manager, and the manager comes over. So what's the problem? This person refuses to go according to the rules. He refuses to sign the check. You're not going to sign the check? No way! Repeats himself again. I'm not saying, okay, come with me to my office. And when they go to the office, the manager removes his belt. He says, you're not signing the check, no? No, put away your belt, put away your belt. I'll sign the check right away, don't worry, put away your belt. And he signs the back of the check, and he goes back to the counter, and he gives the check to the person behind the counter. I don't understand. Did I tell you to sign the back of the check? Yeah, you told it to me, but the manager explained it to me. Sometimes we need the Iras Hashem. To be told is not the same as to be explained. So first we have to have the Iras Hashem. First we have to have the ability to get to the Iras Hashem b'simcha. And this apparently is just the beginning of the preparation for Purim. Because this year we have, as the Rabbi tells us, 60 days of joy. And 30 days, of course, are still left in front of us. In these 30 days, of course, we will continue preparing Shloshim Yom Lifnei Berachag. Vershim, we're going to talk about, but first, let's say L'chaim. Yom Tov, which is obviously Purim, is 30 days away, which means now we have to understand the halachas of Purim. So we'll talk about those four mitzvahs of Purim. We'll start with one which is connected to this week's parsha, which is Machzis HaShekel. Machzis HaShekel, of course, we get tzedakah. And talking about tzedakah, if you look at the word Machzis HaShekel, which of course is connected to Purim in a direct way, as we collect Machzis HaShekel before Purim, not to mention, which is one of the 4 mitzvahs of Purim itself, which is Matanas Wyoming. The word tzedakah is in the word Machzis. The central part of the word Machzis, we have 5 letters, and the middle letter of Machzis is a tzaddik. To tell us why it's called Machzis HaShekel, not Shekel Shalom, because the Bible tells us that that's to do with Shekel is really nefesh, but then what the Machzis falls into, to atone and to take care of our nefesh, it's enough for the shekel. So what is Machzis? But if you look at the significance of the word Machzis, it tells us what tzedakah is all about. That tzedakah has to be surrounded by those 4 letters, but carefully surrounded. The tzaddik should be in the center, and the letters on the right and the left should be the ches and the yud. Because Machzis starts with mem ches, tzaddik yud, stop. The ches and the yud are surrounding. When we give tzedakah, sidlabedekait, it's chai. Because chas v'shalom is the other, opposite. What are the outside letters for Machzis? The mem and the sof. We do the reverse. We want to be a fool and figure that, like the story is told, about a Balagola. And this Balagola was delivering his merchandise from town to town. When he came to one particular town to deliver his merchandise, the Balabas told him, in order to deliver the merchandise, I'm going to put my head down, and every time you take a bag in, put 1 coin in, 1 kopke into the hat. Take 1 bag, put a kopke. Take another bag, another kopke. And likewise, take 1 bag at a time, and then we'll count how many kopkes are in the hat, and we'll know how many bags I have to pay for. That was the plan. But this foolish Balagala, as they were going back and forth, he filled up the hat with about 50 kopkes, and he saw the Balabos is not looking, so he went and he put a handful into his pocket. That got a little richer. Yeah, he got a whole bunch of kopkes, but what did he get? He got the pennies, he got the kopkes, whatever the numbers are in Australia. I never got to learn. What are the single digits are? Not pennies. Huh? Clinton?
5 cents.
1 cent.
5 cents.
1 cent.
Where's it going? Even though I thought you were straight. But the other one is that he got change instead of getting the real thing. He delivered bags upon bags of scholar, merchandise galore, and he stole away a few pennies. So when we decide not to give out tzedakah, what are we doing? We're stealing from our own chai. It's around the tzaddik. We use the outside. The outside is the opposite of chayus. And this is the significance of Pasha Kisisa, which is connecting us and preparing us to Purim, which is Shloshim before coming to Purim. In reference to tzedakah, they tell a story how important it is to keep our word tzedakah. Not only tzedakah, we should commit ourselves to, but commit ourselves to the latter, to what we say. Because the Eibusha knows what's in our hearts. There was a butler in which he saw that the nobleman, his boss, his squire, was making a lot of money. And he figured, he has so many horses, a couple of horses less, what's the big deal? Eibusha, help me. If I will succeed in stealing 2 horses, I'll share it with you. One will be for myself, another one I'm going to give it to tzedakah. Just 2 horses, that's all I'm asking for. Just give me a break, just 2 horses. Of course, he succeeded on running away with 2 horses, and getting to another town. He reaches the next town. The very next morning, he puts them on the market to sell those horses. And as he places them on the market for sale, he didn't realize that those horses were race horses. They were not just a few dollars. There were thousands of dollars involved. When the price started going up to tens of thousands, I changed my mind. I'm not selling it. Forget it. He removed them from the selling block and decided to take them back and to make a new plan, to come up with a better plan. Comes back the next day with a unique plan. Chicken for sale. He places a rooster on each one of the horses. And how much is each chicken? $50,000 chicken. $50,000 for a chicken? What are you talking about? We want to buy the horses. Well, the horses are for sale too. How much is each horse? $10 each. $10 each horse. $10 more buy the horse. No, it goes as a package deal. You have to buy the chicken along with it. Obviously, he sold the two chicken for $100,000. The two horses for $20. And then he ran up to David and said, a deal is a deal. Remember, we made a deal. And $10 for me, and $10 going to come to Stockholm. That's when we rewind the wheel and reinvent the wheel what stock is about. Because that's not what stock is about. Stock is to maintain our order, to do what we say and say what we do. And this is one of the 4 mitzvahs of Purim. To do it the proper way. To do the mitzvah of tzedakah. Not like the story told about these 3 clergies who met together and spoke about how they maintained tzedakah. These 3 clergy, a Rav, a Galach, and an Imam. Each of them had their methods how to collect money from their congregants. Galach says, after services, I depart to the cloister, I go to the backyard, I take a stick and I make a circle, and instead of a little circle, I throw up entire funds that I collect, I throw everything up to the sky, whatever falls inside, I keep for myself. If it goes outside, I give it to all the needy people. Says the Imam, that's not the way to do it. In the mosque, we do it differently. We take the entire money out and we draw a line. Straight line. Whatever falls in front of the line, I keep. Back of the line, I give it to Stockholm. What about you, Rob? What do you do? None of the above. No stick, no circle, no lines. What do? I go to the backyard with the entire money collected. And I throw everything up to the sky. I say, whatever stays up, goes to Stockholm. Whatever comes down, I keep. This is obviously what we shouldn't do. But that's all those jokes are to indicate the importance of the mitzvah of tzedakah to do in the proper manner, which is the first of the 4, one of the 4 mitzvahs of Purim. Then, of course, in Purim we have the mitzvah of Mishnah. The very pasuk said, "V'lef toiv, Mishnah tamid." The Mishnah already starts 30 days before. So alachas kama lekama. If you start feasting 30 days ago, so how much more so Purim? So the minhag was, and he still is, to always have a huge party to celebrate Purim adel yatam, to make sure that Purim is lebedik. There was one particular town came up with an invention, and the invention was very simple. Because we are not so rich, each of us will come with a bottle of wine and each day fill up the big barrel which will be in the backyard of our mayor. The mayor of our city will have a big gigantic barrel of wine, empty barrel, and we each will donate periodically on a daily basis, every other day basis. Every person according to their means will bring a bottle of wine, so at the end, by the time Purim will be here, we'll have a barrel full of wine, so we can really make a Mishnah Gadol, so we can make a big celebration, a Mishnah Tamid. And this went on without people following the rules accordingly. Because each person said, what's the difference if I'm going to put just one bottle of water? and another guy did that, and the third guy, and the fourth guy. By the time Purim came, you can imagine what was there. It was a barrel full of water, because every person was only me. I'm the only one who's going to put in a bottle of water. So we have to make the proper achanas. To prepare for Purim, we have to make sure that we have the Mishnah Talmud, the proper Mishnah. There was a rich man that used to invite all the needy. He accomplished two things simultaneously: Matanas of Wyoming and the Mishnah. So it's Purim. As we all know that all four of Purim's mitzvahs start with a mem. We have the Shluach Monas with a mem, Matanas of Wyoming with a mem, the Mishnah with a mem, and Megillah Esther, all four of them, all the men, the four mems of Purim. So he invited the needy people to his Mishnah, Matanas of Wyoming. So he had one table for his family, and another table for the poor. The only difference was, his table, every member of the table received a quarter of a chicken per person. And all the other poor people, they received, for every four poor people, it was a quarter. In other words, they got portion, a little here, a little there. And then it was approaching the early afternoon, and the boss says, Rabbi side, it's already 1:45. Let's start davening mincha. So one of the people gets up and says, well, maybe it's on your table 1:45. In our table, it's still 3:45. It's already 3:45. So so we have to make sure that we serve everyone, not just for ourselves. We have to be inclusive, not exclusive, to make sure it's a Mishnah Talmud for everyone to be able to celebrate Yom Tov Purim. And this is part and parcel of the Sudas Purim, which is another important part. And then Mishloach Manos. I'll share with you. Let me see if one remembers the story about the Malbim. The Malbim received a beautiful Mishloach Manos. A beautiful Mishloach Manos to one of the masculine, who was not exactly should we say, a fumerit. He decided to stock them out, and he sent them a plate, beautiful plate designed with a chazal, and a yain nesek. The two things that you have to send. You have to send two machos. You have to send two foods. Everything has to do with two. If you look at the items that are connected to Purim, everything has to do with two. We come Megillah, we lay the Megillah in the evening, and we repeat it in the morning. Two. Mishloach Manos has to be two edible foods. Matanas of Yonim has to be at least to two people, two individuals. So what about the Mishnah? What about the Sudas Purim? What does that have to do with two? We have to drink so much until we become two. We're no longer the same person. Until we become the other Leona. We become the second person. So this particular person wanted to stock the Malbim. So he sends them a Mishloach Manos of two treifas. A chaza with yain nesek. And the messenger comes over with a smile on his face. This is for you, Rabbi. For the Malbim, this is for you. And the Malbim says, just a moment. I have to send Mishloach Manos back to my dear friend. So beautiful of him, so kind of him. And he takes a plate and he puts on the plate his Mishloach Manos and sends it back to this rich man, to this maskil, I should say. And the maskil opens up the plate, unveils the plate, and what does he see? He sees just an Malbim's picture. The only thing he sees is the picture. He says, what's going on over here? He says, what's going on? I sent him such a delicacy. He runs over. I'm the guest. So he runs quickly with his plate that has a Novi's picture on it, and he says, "What is that about? I sent you such a delicious shalach manos. My shalach manos was edible, was enjoyable. And what did you send me? Just a picture." No, says the Malbim. You send me your picture, and I send you back my picture. So we exchange pictures. So now we're the same. Now we understand each other. We are know all about what it's all about. So obviously we have to send real mishloach manos, not like this masker, this should we say kanoi, tried to do his own shtick. Talking about the masker, the Rabbi from at Purim quite regularly. I wasn't able to be there, unfortunately, much of those days, because we had also this Purim, wherever we were, and the rest is history. But we read about it. We were able to read about all of the trainings, and in one particular training, the Rebbe spoke about the Frierdiker Rebbe, in which the Frierdiker Rebbe was approached by a basket. Mina Lina also Indian. It says in the Shikha. Mina Lina also Indian, but it wasn't the same as Indian. It was a different Indian. And over there, Mina Lina also Indian was that the masker was questioned the Frierdiker Rebbe. You give him a kasha. How come it says Yudim Mitzvah Yudim? How come Yudim, which by the way, Yudim is the only time we have says not Yisrael, because we're all Bnei Yisrael. All the time we're known as Bnei Yisrael. The children of Yaakov, it was renamed Yisrael. But only by there is a Mordechai, a Yehudi. The first time that we got the title of no longer Bnei Yisrael, children of Yisrael, but the Yehudim, with two Yuds. So the masker was trying to stop the Frierdiker Rebbe. So the Frierdiker Rebbe gave him a very simple explanation that there are two Yudim, because 10 is Esek Kochas HaNefesh, and 10 represent Yetzirah, Yetzirah Torah. They both are invited. Ayid is not just with Yetzirah Torah. Yetzirah is also part and parcel. We have to defeat Yetzirah too. As a matter of fact, Machzor Shekel is on the same note. It's Machzor of what of 20 Gerah, Sim Gerah. Esther, 10 of it is to get the Yetzirah Torah. But what about Yetzirah? We have to knock him out and convert him. But nevertheless, that's what the Frierdiker Rebbe tells this master. And then one of the guys who was there said, "Oh, Nachman says, hey, like me," jumps up. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said, "No, not like you. He was a real master. He was one of the Yas Sefer. He knew how to learn, not like you, above Amaretz." The Frierdiker Rebbe treated those people according to their need. Sometimes we have to, should we say, fight fire with fire. We can't just do things the way it is. As an example, a simple example that doesn't relate to it directly, but does relate to how important it is to treat people accordingly. We have Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. The three of them all lived in Kingston. Eretz Canaan was Eretz Kingston, same land. The strip between the Gaza Strip all the way to Ashdod, all the way down along the coast was Eretz Kingston. Avraham makes a peace treaty, makes a shalom with Avimelech Melech Kingston. And Yitzchak Bepitzdal makes shalom with Melech Kingston. Yaakov doesn't. And of course, we have one of the Medrash, as Rashi quotes, what Yaakov goes up, what was Hashem angry? What was anger about? So if you look at the Medrash tells us the full story about who is Avimelech Melech Kingston. Avimelech was a pirate. He was Arafat, Abbas. He was a terrorist. He was a person who wanted to see the Jews in the ocean, in the Yam Tichon, in the Mediterranean. Chas v'sholom. He was no different than today's Plishtim, Palestine, Philistines, Plishtim. They're all the same people. It's all the same individuals, just with different stripes, with different coats, with different levush, with different garments. So this, Avraham made a peace treaty, and what was it? What the Medrash tells us? Now it will be 7 generations before Moshe Rabbeinu will get to Eretz Yisrael. will be a delay of 7 generations before we can come to Eretz Yisrael. Abraham meant well. He meant well, by the same token, there was a price to pay. It was good to make shalom, but not at any cost. Not, meanwhile, losing our own brethren, our own Eden. And to wait until God to Yisrael, to wait till the Moshe Rabbeinu. Comes Yitzchak, follows footsteps of his father Abraham, and he re-strikes a deal. Now you're sure. The next generation comes Yaakov and says, it's me? I'm going to benefit from that. And meanwhile, all day I'm going to suffer. I'm getting out of here. And you wouldn't make, because you have to fight fire with fire. You can't accept people who are not willing to turn a new leaf, to become a peaceful individual. And this is without the Friedecker Rebbe conducting himself with Nachmanson. Even the Nachmanson was a Yid. Yeah, but he was not a true Yid. He was a Yid that turned a new collar, a new coat. He was a Moisa. And if you look at Alter Rebbe Shchanach, in Chelek Vav, it speaks about what he's supposed to do a Moisa. Gives all the halachas what he's supposed to do to a person who's a traitor, or a person who turns his back against Eden. I'm not going to go there, but he can give us all the halachas there, which says in Perek Vav, in Chelek Vav, about all the halachas of what to do to a Moisa. But nevertheless, the Friedecker Rebbe educated the people that he had to be educating them, and he went on to continue on to indicate that Yiddishkeit doesn't walk away in spite of the fact of the obstacles that are in the way. We don't take those obstacles and accept them to be part and parcel of us. We just have to overcome those obstacles. And that's how the Friedecker Rebbe was able to overcome those obstacles. Nachmanson and the rest of the obstacles that were causing the trouble. And this is the same obstacles we had in Purim. Same obstacles that Friedecker Rebbe had when he had to never suffer a lot of pain and a lot of suffering while he was interrogated by our own people, by our own people. And Purim we have these very obstacles that was in the days of Mordechai the Yehudi. Mordechai the Jew, as we all know him as in the Lashon Medina, the language of the street. Mordechai fought fire with fire. He fought Haman in the same way. Haman, we all know that Haman was Amaleki. Haman was from Amalek. And who is Amalek? Amalek is the ones who brings doubts in our mind. The one who brings suffolk to us what to do, how to do it. I'm going to repeat what I did this afternoon, and I'll share with you one more Amalek. And this Amalek is in my pocket. This Amalek is this little guy. You would ask, what do you see Amalek in this Dalet? Well, Amalek became Mati is 240. Dalet is 4, Rav is 6, which is 10, Lamed is 30, it's 40, and Reish is 200. Amalek is 240. Dalet is no different. It's also 240. It's when it's abused. And as the Rabbi says in another sikha, if we don't behave properly, that was also important. In another time in which we don't behave properly, we might use our money to pay doctor bills or to use it to pay taxes. In English, taxes, to pay the IRS in the US, I don't know what it's called over here, to pay the Mas Achnasa in Israel. It's called what? The government, okay. So the government in Israel, under the auspices of Mas Achnasa, Mem is 40, Samach is 60, it's 100. Achnasa, Hey, 5, Ches, Chaf is 20, Nun is 50, Samach is 60, A is 5. You know that it's up to all this together? 240. If we have to pay a Mas Achnasa to the government, if we don't use our money properly, they'll take it away from us. They'll take away our dollars unless we use it for mitzvahs, unless we use our money to do with it the proper thing, use our money in the proper manner. So that's how we uproot Amalek from our midst, by using things in the proper manner. We use our items according to their need, then we overcome the Amalek that is within us. The Amalek will be defeated. And Baruch Hashem, we had already 10 physical fights with Amalek. As I said, Baruch Hashem, we don't have to go physically fight with Amalek. Because 10 is the magic number, there are many ways to prepare for the coming Mashiach. Many things have to come to number 10 to pave the way to coming Mashiach. And one of those 10 is a 10 milchamas, the 10 waging a war against Amalek. And we already completed it. We already did all 10 milchamas with Amalek. So we have none left, no physical milchama with Amalek. Our Amalek is still within us. That's our own physical fight. But Amalek, in the one that came after us, and when we came out of Mitzrayim, which was only one, of course the Altira gives us 3 of them, Altira L'Pachas Pizon, which is the whole story of Mordechai and Aman and so on. To be continued. Chaim. In the beginning, I was very careful not to mention any names, because if you mention one name, 2 or 3 or 4, and you miss someone, so Yeshua always going to take care. See, I already started. I already made a mistake. He's going to do all the introduction.
So I mentioned to Rabbi Perelman, and L'chaim, thank you for bringing and coming from Wyoming, Barre, L'chaim. And we've been talking a lot about tzedakah, and many of you may know that my wife and I run a gemach for many different things, for many of color, the wedding dress, the veil, the shoes, petticoats, and also dresses for the mother of the bride, and everything that one can need. And it's moved out Sunday a week ago from our lounge dining room into premises that we're renting in Purim Road. So the main thing I want to mention, which I asked Rabbi Perelman for me to speak, is about the mezuzahs. So there's 15 doors there, $100 a mezuzah. If we can have some sponsorship towards that, anything you can give would be appreciated towards the mezuzahs, and any other help if you can possibly help, or your wife's help with running it, maintaining it. But at the moment, I'd like to mention about the mezuzahs. 15 mezuzahs, 15 doors, $100 each. Whatever you can do, it fits in with Rabbi Perelman's talk about tzedakah as we approach Purim.
And I'm sure you're not going to do what the butler did. For those of you who remember the story of the butler, you're going to do it the real way. The last thing we spoke about Mordechai Yehudi. Mordechai was the Rabbi in his generation. Every generation, you have a Rabbi. So, to understand what is a Rabbi, there's a story told about a maskil who comes over to a Rabbi and says to the Rabbi, I don't understand. Do you know what kind of problem you're causing to society? You know what you're doing? You're making people travel overseas, leaving their wives and children behind, spending money galore, just to see the Rabbi. Why don't you just write everything in a book? You save time, you save money. Why don't you do that? So the Rabbi said to him, it's a great question. It's a $64,000 question. And for that, give me 24 hours. Then you come up with an answer. So come back in 24 hours and I'll do my best. 24 hours later, he shows up. And what's the answer? Before we're going to talk about the answer, I have a shayla. I have a question to ask you. There was a play of Shakespeare that was in the theater last night. I want to talk to you about it. Says the Rabbi to the master. You want to talk to me about a play in the theater? Sure. I want to talk to you about the play in the theater. Rabbi, did you go to the play? Yes, I'm a Rabbi. And he bought the script and I read it from cover to cover. I know the entire script inside out. But Rabbi, by a play, you have to be there. You have to see every move. You can't just read the skit. He asked a question about why why do we want to see our Rebbe? Why do we want to see our ruler? Why do we want to see our king? Is because it's not enough to read about it. So just like Mordechai Yehudi was the Rebbe of the Eden, every generation we have our Rebbe. And without our Rebbe with us, without our Rebbe giving us guidance, it's not the same. We can come up with plans galore, but we need guidance. We need to be overseen, to have someone oversee that we do the things in the right manner. But we do it not just because we think it's right. We want a step of approval. Because once the Rebbe said it's right, we know it's right. And that's the difference between any Rebbe and our Rebbe. Because sitting with me to talk about the Rebbes without mentioning the other segment of sitting, they would say, how can you say anything about your Rebbe that he's a Mashiach, as an example? A very vivid example. And the answer is, no, your Rebbe is Mashiach. No. As I heard from a balabos who told, a son of balabos who told it to my brother, to my shwager, who said to him, you know, our Rabbi is Mashiach. I said, what are you talking about? He's not. So then the second Rabbi is Mashiach. And his reply was, no, my Rabbi is a businessman. That's exactly what I heard. And that's exactly what we shouldn't hear. Because we're not looking to be in business. A Rabbi is not a businessman. A Rabbi is director of Yiddishkeit. A Rabbi is a director to make sure that every person gets his and her need. Every man, woman, and child. Eid and Avdil, those who are not. Everyone is addressed according to their need. Everyone gets fulfilled what they need to do, their mission. As the Frierdiker Rebbe writes in the Sefer Chinuch V'Adracha, it indicates over there, from here, he said, if you want to go to the line of Chinuch, if you want to be a Melamed, you should be aware you have to have the chush of a Melamed. Why would you say so? I'll give you an example. A fellow comes over to his Rebbe, he says to him, give me a bracha, ich gehe a Melamed. I will be a Melamed. I'm taking a position of a Melamed. And the Rav and the Rebbe tells him, I'll give you a bracha, you should be a good Shochet. He said, no. I'm going to be a Melamed. Yeah, I heard you. And I'll give you a bracha again, you should be a good Shochet. For the third time, I'm going to be a Melamed. Ich ken dir, I know you quite well, inside out. I'd rather you slaughter animals than slaughter children. Because I can't do a job X, Y, and Z. I'll take a job of another kind. In every field, we have to have the chush. And the Rebbe knows our chush. The Rebbe knows whether it's a chush is in the educational field, or it's in the business field, or anything in between. And that is why we need, what's the name of us? We need someone who's going to direct us. And Mordechai Yehudi, in the story of Purim, he directed the Eden. He gathered 22,000 kinderlach, and he educated them how to remain Eden. Because the people are yanking. Because from mother babes, they are the ones who are innocent and sincere. They are so sincere that when you're young, I tell many parents, you know, the child is so sweet, you can eat him up. But when they get older, they're going to say, right in time. Because they're not from us grown-ups. And they'll lose in sincerity. So we have to catch them before they become educated. Before they learn from the surrounding how to get away with. I remember one time there was a woman who told the child, never ever say a lie. Don't you ever say a lie. That was the message she injected into her child. And then they were online to go into the zoo, to see all these animals. And she saw a big sign which says that under the age of 5 is free. And our son was just reached the age of 5. He just turned 5. Under the age of 5 is free. Well, what do you think she did? Sonny, say your fall. Mommy, I'm 5. Shh, don't say it. Say your fall, Sonny. And of course, what message do you think Sonny got? Never lie, accept. Can be accept. Has to be straightforward. In reference to that, when the Rashab was 5 years old. The Rashab was 5 to maybe 5.5 years old. And the reason why he was no older than 5.5, as it says in the Sikha, is because he was still in the days of Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek passed away, Mistalak I should say, in the age of 5.5 to the Rashab. The Rashab was 5.5 years old when the Tzemach Tzedek was Mistalak. And this Maaseh took place when he was still alive. The Tzemach Tzedek was still around. And Zalman Aron, his big brother of 7 years old or thereabout, and young brother of the Rashab, were playing Rebbe Chassid. Zalman Aron, of course, was the Rebbe, and the Rashab was the Chassid. And the Rebbe, of course, was fixing his head, was sitting down, making sure that he's ready to hear what the young Shomrei has to say. He said, I need to do some tshuva. I need to do some correction. I did something wrong. I need to do tshuva. What did he do wrong? Yeah, the Rabbi says in Ilchas Shabbos that we're not supposed to eat nuts. And I'm not sure it was last week or the week before. I ate nuts. Please give me a takana. Give me a tikkun. Tell me what to do. So Zalman says, say Tehillim. And if you say Tehillim, that will give you your cure. That will be your way to do tshuva. So the little Rashab turns to his brother and said, you're not a Rebbe. You didn't use the krechts. A Rebbe has to have the filling. Without the filling, you're not a Rebbe. You have to have the krechts that hurts you. Which kind of krechts? Rab Mordechai. There's a story told about Rab Mordechai, who was a Polish Rebbe. Rab Mordechai was a Polish Rebbe. And Rab Mordechai spoke only Yiddish. One day, Rab Mordechai had to go to a doctor. And obviously, he had to take his gabbai with him. Because the doctor speaks Polish, Rab Mordechai speaks Yiddish, and how do you deal with a doctor? He has pains in his back, and how is he going to get cured without having the dialogue with the doctor? So you're a translator. Very good. What's your first name? Elchana gave the answer. He needs a translator, a Meturgeman. Just like I was a Meturgeman of Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Gabbai was a Meturgeman of the Mordechai. So in those days they used a very unique method of curing back pain. It was with hot rods. You take metal iron, hot metal iron, hot iron I should say, and you put it over the fire, and you place it on the back to kill the pain with pain. And that's what the doctor did, put it in the back of the Mordechai. And the Mordechai, of course, felt the pain, but held it to himself. He did not say a sound. So the doctor felt maybe it's not on a high enough level. The metal is not doing its job because it's not hot enough. I have to put it back on fire and raise the temperature. Put it at a higher level. And you raise the temperature and place it back on the back and weiter, schweigt. His mouth is locked, sealed, not a sound. He makes a sound, he makes a remark in Polish, and Mordechai says, "What's doctor? What is he talking about? What is the doctor saying?" What is he talking about? The doctor is saying, he can't understand. It's so hot. And how could you not feel the pain? So Mordechai tells his Gabbai, tell the doctor, you know what the pain is? When someone comes with a krittel, with a pan for health, for parnasa, a pan for need in the family, in the community. That's when you have pain. This is garnish, this is kleinigkeit, this is nothing. And this is what the Rabbi is. That's what says Lil Rashab to his big brother, Zalman Aaron. A Rebbe davon a krechts. A Rebbe has to feel that we are really in pain, and he has to feel our pain. And he gives a krechts, it's not a show, because he feels our pain. Because the Rebbe wants all of the Chassidim to be pain-free. He wants to make sure they will be pain-free. Like one Chassid said to the Frierdiker Rebbe, I go from town to town like you told me, and I share Chassidus like you told me. That's the good news. The bad news, I have yeshus. Now I feel like a big shot because I'm doing a job and I have an audience and they all enjoy it and it feels so good. I'm now full of yeshus. I have no more bittul. No more bittul. So you know the Rebbe said to him, I forget the exact language. Just say, Vaxavat Sibboleh. You should grow like an onion. But Chassidus should continue spreading. In spite of the fact that you feel that way, don't give up. Reaching out to Eden. And educating Eden. What Chassidus is all about. What is the difference between Chassidus and Muslim? There are two avenues to which the English. They're both good avenues. It's Avas Hashem and Yiras Hashem. Ava is Chsiris, and Musar is Ira. So what's wrong? And the example, I believe it's what I bring in many a time I did not share with you the names because I have from the Rabbi and the pasuk of the Mishnah in Pekravas. The Mishnah in Pekravas says that which is fitting to this time of the year. This time of the year, we're talking about it says over there that we say something in the name of Yitzhak, that will bring redemption to the world. So the Rebbe said, I never saw it in writing, I learned it from the Shul Isaac Koton, who said here from the Rebbe, that if you're ashamed, if there's something in the name, Kama, who's the name? The one who says it, you be good. Why? Because, as it says in Yerushalmi, Kol Mashe Talmid Vasek is in the Chadish, not on the Sinai. Anything that Talmid Vasek is not to the Chadish, it was all originated in Sinai. So it wasn't your accomplishment, and everything has a source. So it's all originated. So I apologize that I not used many names along the way, because I always remember you said what. So I said many things without quoting the names, because I did not recall all the names. So relating to my income. So to conclude with the message that what was the message that we spoke about? The importance of the, I know I was bird walking from one thing to another in reference to that story. What was the last thing I said? I already forgot. The what?
We need guidance. Shit.
Direction.
We need direction.
That was only some long time ago. Like something new that I said. Okay, I guess something. I guess what I forgot was not important. The fine.